Extra-Dojo Bridge construction, Tanzanite Bridge. This is the story of construction of Tanzanite Extra-Dojo Bridge. The Tanzanite Bridge opened in March 2023 in Dar es Salaam, the best city in Tanzania. Tanzanite is one of the world's rarest gemstones found only in northern Tanzania. Tanzania is known to us for its Serengeti National Park, famous for safari, and Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest in Africa. Dar es Salaam is a port city with a population of more than 5 million. In order to solve the problem of population increase and the urban traffic congestion caused by development of economic and industry, we plan to build 1 kilometer bridge and access road over the sea. The project name is construction of a new Serenda Bridge project. The project cost was 107.4 million United States dollars, of which 91 million United States dollars was supported by the Economic Development Corporation Fund in Korea. During construction contract in July 2018, Tanzania President Magufuli and Korean Prime Minister Lee Nak-yeon attended the ceremony. The design and construction supervision service were carried out by Yushin Engineering Corporation, and the construction was carried out by GSENC, a Korea consultant and contractor. The construction period is from October 15, 2018 to December 27, 2021. It took about 38 months to complete. The Tanzanite Bridge construction is Korea EDCF Africa's largest project, and it was successfully completed within the contracted construction period by carrying out day and night work, even in the situation of the corona pandemics. I participated in this project as a resident engineer. I would like to share the technical detail experience during the construction period with you, construction engineers. In December 2018, a groundbreaking ceremony was held in the presence of President Magufuli, and the Korea ambassador to Tanzania attended as a major guest. In May 2019, Tanzania President Magufuli visited the site without notice at the beginning of the construction work. The Tanzanite Bridge is a 4-lane bridge with a length of 1,030 meters built over the sea. It consists of a 670 meter extra-dojo bridge with a 4 span of 125 meter, 2 span of 85 meter, a pre-stressed concrete girder bridge with a total length of 40 meter 9 span and total of 360 meter. There are 254 board piles with a diameter of 1.5 meter, and the length of the pile is different for each pier because the ground conditions are different for each pier location. Geological conditions are mostly limestone layer in the approach section, but hard clay layer and dense gravel sand layer are mixed in the extra-dojo bridge section. And in the case of the pier number 6, the silty sand layer is distributed up to a depth of 50 meters or more. Before work, a confirmation geological survey was conducted by boring for each pier. The difference between the low tide and the high tide at sea level is 4.3 meter, which occurs twice a day. At low tide, the seabed is exposed, so the capped concrete top of the pile is designed lower than the seabed, and the shape of the upper structure is streamlined. As for the concrete strength, 60 megapascal was used for concrete box cutter, pre-stressed concrete beam where the pre-stressing tendon is used. 50 megapascal for pylon and 40 megapascal for the substructure and board pile concrete. Since the concrete structure design was conducted by British standard, the concrete compressive strength test also was used performed using 150 millimeter cube mold by British standard instead of a cylinder mold with a diameter of 150 millimeter and a height of 300 millimeter, which is mainly used in Korea. Even with the same concrete, the cube mold has about 20% higher strength than the cylinder mold. The strand steel wire used is diameter 15.2 millimeter and 1860 megapascal, and the Korean steel product were used. Temporary steel bridge installation. At the time of design, a temporary road was planned as an earthwork in the middle of the sea for bridge construction. But the tidal difference of 4.3 meters occurs twice a day, and if a road for construction is built, flooding in the nearby area can be expected during heavy rain. Earthwork more than 300,000 cubic meter, considering the fact that carrying out an abnormal amount of work in the area with the highest traffic volume could cause a lot of civil complaint. A temporary construction bridge was installed without increase in construction cost according to the contractor proposal. As a resident engineer, I believe that the biggest factor in completing the project within the contract period was that I convinced the client and made immediately change to this end. In terms of bridge construction capability, Chinese contractors are very strong. The number of bridges built in China in the last 20 years has broken all world record. In China, where many bridges have been built, temporary material for the construction such as truss material, deck cover plate material, and steel pipe pile have been commercialized, allowing material lead for bridge construction to be immediately put into the field. This is a procedure of temporary steel bridge. Pipe pile driving with crane, truss construction, deck plate installation, advance of crane, continue pile driving, truss temporary deck installation was carried out day and night, and 1 kilometer construction bridge was installed in less than 4 months. This is a picture of the Minister of Construction of Tanzania visiting the site to encourage the construction of temporary bridge installation and operation. This is a picture of the site where the seawater ran out at low tide. It showed the walking platform installed on each pier for on-site pier construction and a preparation workshop for board pile construction. Cast-in press concrete pile, also known as board pile, 1.5 to 2.5 meter in diameter and widely used as reinforced concrete piles and can handle about 500 tons to 5,000 tons of bearing capacity. The process of construction of a cast-in press pile is as follows. Driving steel casing, excavation inside the casing, supply of bentonite slurry, removal of sedimentary soil and suspended metal by excavation, integrity test. Next stage, river gauge installation, river gauge connection. After installing the river cage, second airlifting cleaning, concrete casting, and steel casing removal before concrete hardening. The terms bridge foundation, that is, a bridge foundation is a structure that is invisible under the ground or water and refers to piles, pile caps, caissons, footing concrete, etc. Foundations are built on bedrock, very dense sand or very hard clay. Steel pipe piles, PHC high-strength concrete piles, and cast-in press concrete piles are used as materials for use. Picture of board pile works. Installation of river cage and concrete pouring. The geological condition of the bridge foundation board pile is different for each pier positions. Limestone layers, dense sand layers, and hard clay layers are mixed together. The binary foundation of an extra-dose bridge with a span length of 125 meters has 30 piles with a diameter of 1.5 meters. Approach bridge pier foundation with a span length of 40 meters has a diameter of 1.5 meters and 20 piles. The pile dips also vary from 15 meter to 64 meter. The bearing capacity of piles vary from about 600 tons to 1,250 tons, depend on geological condition and the pile length. In this regard, detailed management is required during construction. It is necessary to check whether the constructed pile have the bearing capacity required by the design. The test was conducted in two ways. A dynamic load test was conducted for each pier, and the static load test was performed by an Osterberg cell at the important place. That is, where the pile length is the longest and the largest bearing capacity is required. The static load test was conducted by a third-party professional company. This is a PDA test image. Pile drive analyzer PDA test is a high-strain dynamic testing method specified in ASTM, which evaluates the bearing capacity and the structural soundness of piles. The PDA test evaluates the dynamic characteristic by measuring the road speed and the deformation applied to the pile using an accelerometer and the sensor attached to the pile. The bearing capacity by test should be more than twice the working load. The weight of a hammer used in around 1 to 2% of required bearing capacity. The Ocell test is used to test the bearing capacity of a pile with a very large bearing capacity, or to know the friction force on the surface of a friction pile and the bearing capacity at the tip. Hydro-reject, precise measuring instrument, and specialized analysis techniques are required. This is a schematic diagram of the Ocell static load test. Ocell is installed in the middle of the pile to perform bidirectional static load testing to obtain information on ground response to load. The following is a description of carpet work for foundation, concrete, and pier construction. The elevation of the seabed is generally 2 meters lower than the mean sea level. The high tide water surface is 2 meters above the mean sea level. The bottom of the pile cap is 7 meters below mean sea level. Therefore, pile cap construction should be carried out at 9 meters lower than sea level. To this end, a carpet work is required and a steel sheet pile length of 18 meters was used. It is a sheet pile driving operation and a strut supporter inside the sheet pile. This photo shows the pier foundation excavation work in progress. The water surface outside the sheet pile is 9 meters higher than the elevation of the inside excavations. Excavation work is carried out day and night while continuing pumping to pump out seawater that intrude from sheet pile joints or through ground cavities. In the case of pier Number 9, the ground was a limestone layer with many cavities, and it was impossible to proceed with the work due to intrusion of seawater through it. In case of severe seawater intrusion, about 1 meter thick ceiling concrete was poured on the entire bottom of the foundation to prevent seawater intrusion. Picture on the right, after excavation of the pier foundation is complete and the head of the board pile is arranged, it is clean and arranged for the cap concrete reinforcement work. This is a picture of cap concrete works. As of October 15, 2020, about 20 months after start of the construction, the bridge substructure is almost completed. Tanzanite Bridge are extra-dojo bridges. Extra-dojo bridge is a type of PSC box girder bridge in which the eccentric height is increased by arranging tendon on the pylon at the continuous girder support point with a large negative moment. Although it looks like a cable stay bridge, it has the characteristic of a girder bridge structurally. When compared a cable stay bridge, there is a point where the height of pylon is lower in appearance, and when comparing the load distribution, the deck dead load and the vehicle load. For PSC Garda Bridge, if the deck Garda receive 100%, for cable stay bridge, stay cable receive 100%. In case of an extra dodge bridge, the Garda receive the deck dead load, approximately 60% of the total load, and the vehicle load, approximately 40% of full load, is received by the stay cable. Economical spanning length, PSC Garda Bridge 50 to 100 meter, cable stay bridge 200 to 300 meter, extra dodge bridge will be 100 to 200 meter. In the Tanzanite Bridge, 60 stay cable pass through the saddle at the tower and are fixed to both ends of the deck in 5 pylons. Deck concrete divided and constructed in 3.5 meter segments. 5 sets of foam traveler used for deck construction were brought in to the site, and all foam traveler were installed on 5 pylons to proceed with the construction. In order to make up for the sluggish progress caused by the corona pandemic, foam traveler were added 2 sets more from the planned 3 sets to actually 5 sets, and the construction was completed within the contract period through day and night work. The promotion of construction by the contractor and the subcontractor should be highly evaluated. This is the scene where 5 sets of home travelers are putting their full effort into it. The strand used for extra dodge bridge cable is a Korean product. Most of the strand used for suspension bridge, cable stay bridges, and PSC are Korean product and have high quality and reliability internationally. The strand composed of 7 wire has a diameter of 15.2 millimeter, a strength of 1,860 megapascal, and a cable force of about 430 tons. The saddle installed on the top of the tower passes through a seamless tube for each strand. The 7-wire steel wire is coated with hot dip zinc coated with PE pipe and filled with oil to form a single strand, and 42 strands are inserted into the HDPE pipe to form a single cable. This is a scene where HDPE pipe is connected or cardan installed. The tensioning mechanism for each strand is called a monostrand jack, and the monostrand jack is generally used for stay cables. A multi-strand jack is a PS tendon used in concrete deck construction that is a device and tension a bundle of strand together. The stay cable used for cable stay bridge or extra dodge bridge should be replaced if there is a problem. Since the Tanzanite Bridge stay cable penetrated the saddle, a replacement test was conducted with the cable in which tensile force was actually introduced to check whether it could be replaced. The risk of safety accidents due to a falling object is very high during cable installation. This is what the site looked like years before the completion. This is a photo of approach bridge PSC beam production and installation. As additional work at the center of the bridge, a precast concrete barrier was installed for safety of passing vehicles. A completed access road and Tanzanite Bridge are seen from a distance. During the construction period, ambassadors of Tanzania abroad visited the site. After almost completing the bridge structure construction and before starting asphalt pavement, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan visited the site. And this is the night view of Tanzanite Bridge. On March 24, 2022, Tanzanite Bridge opened. I would like to express my gratitude to many workers who participate in the work day and night during the corona pandemics and colleagues who worked together. Thank you.